We've all dealt with the old way of doing things, the real headaches.
Oh, absolutely.
You're pulling all this heavy copper wire through conduit, you're worried about voltage drop, and then you have separate power supplies for everything. It's a legacy we've been stuck with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had two totally distinct worlds, right?
Yeah.
The electricians doing the power and the AV guys running the analog signal. Completely separate.
But then you look at something like this Kramer AW-6D, and that line is, it's just gone.
Yeah.
On the outside, it's a 6.5-inch wall speaker. Looks pretty standard.
Yeah.
But on the inside, it's a full-blown networked IT device.
And that's really the core of what we're digging into today. This thing represents that convergence of AV and IT. We're not just, hanging speakers anymore. We're deploying intelligent network endpoints.
So let's just jump right into that one cable idea. It runs on PoE, power over Ethernet, but I'm used to standard PoE being pretty limited, like 15 watts. Can a single network cable really drive a speaker this size to a usable volume?
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
But this is where it gets clever. The AW6D, it creates a handshake with your network switch. It auto-negotiates.
So it asks for the power it needs.
Exactly. If you can give it PoE plus D, it'll take it.
And with that PoE plus D, the specs say it's hitting 105 dB peak SPL. That's not just background paging. That's loud enough for a noisy restaurant or like a busy retail space.
Right. And you're doing that without a dedicated amp rack, which is so much more efficient. But, the power is only half the equation.
The other half is getting the audio signal there.
Yep.
And that's where Dante comes in. That's the part that makes this whole one cable thing actually work for high quality audio, right?
Precisely. While PoE is handling the wattage, the Dante protocol is handling the audio distribution over that same network. We're talking uncompressed, multi-channel, super low latency digital audio.
Which means no more hum loops, no signal degrading over a 100-foot cable run. It's just data packets until they arrive.
It's ones and zeros right up until it hits the actual driver.
Okay, but here's the trade-off I always see with active speakers. You move the brains into the speaker itself, you lose that central control rack. I don't want to be climbing a ladder to tweak the EQ on 50 different speakers in a warehouse.
Yeah. No, that would be a complete deal breaker. But Kramer figured that out. They moved the processing on board, but they didn't get rid of the central control.
How does that work?
The AW6D has a built-in DSP, a digital signal processor. So the mixer, the EQ, filters, compression, it's all handled inside the cabinet. But you control all of it from their software utility on your computer.
So it's decentralized processing, but with centralized management.
You got it. And that software has one feature in particular that solves, I think, one of the biggest pains in any IP deployment. Yeah. It's called Find Me.
Oh, that's useful. Because you're staring at a list of 50 IP addresses, and you have no earthly idea which one is hanging over the reception desk.
Exactly. You just click the Find Me button for that IP in the software, and that specific speaker emits a little tone.
So you can physically find it.
You find it, you can rename it, reception speaker, whatever. It bridges that gap between the schematic and the real world.
Speaking of the real world, let's talk about the hardware itself. You've got this very sophisticated network brain, but can the actual chassis survive outside a nice climate-controlled room?
It's surprisingly rugged. They built it with an IP66 rating.
So sealed against dust, and it can take high-pressure water jets.
Yep. You can mount this on an outdoor patio, let it get rained on, even hose it down when you're cleaning, and the electronics are perfectly safe.
I also saw the V0 flame retardant rating. That's a must-have for a lot of commercial building codes.
It is. It's a critical safety feature, especially when you're putting power devices inside plenum spaces or, near emergency exits. It's just smart engineering.
And for all the integrators listening, that toolless mounting bracket caught my eye.
It's another one of those smart, practical things. It's about efficiency. Once that bracket is on the wall, you can aim and lock the speaker in place just using your hands.
Right.
No fumbling with a wrench on top of a lift.
So if we bring this all together, we have a weatherproof, fire-resistant, Dante-enabled speaker that handles its own power and its own EQ, all running from a single Ethernet cable.
It really just illustrates that audio is no longer this standalone acoustic trade. It's a sub-discipline of network management now.
Which completely changes the skill set you need to deploy it.
Totally. And it leaves you with a really interesting thought, doesn't it? If a simple wall speaker now has its own IP address, its own firmware, its own intelligence, what other passive, dumb parts of our buildings are about to wake up and join the network?
That is a fascinating question. Definitely where things are headed. Thanks for exploring this one.